Welcome to our session. Victoria?
Hello, everyone. Well, my name is Maria Victoria Sule. I am a Spanish instructor and a researcher at the Language Center of Cyprus University of Technology. And my colleague, Antigone.
And I'm Antigone Barmaxi. I'm a Greek language instructor at the Language Center of the University of Cyprus University of Technology. And I'm also a postdoctoral researcher at the Cyprus Interaction Lab of the university and the coordinator of the Learning Development Network of the university. And together we will be delivering the workshop entitled Collaborative Learning Tools for Enhancing Language Learning. So, starting with a summary of our workshop, we will be exploring collaborative learning tools that can be used in the process of collaborative writing for the creation of digital artifacts within the social constructionist approach, as well as tools that promote collaborative strategic reading. For those who have joined the Nearpod, you will be able to see, as I said earlier, the presentation on your devices or through the sharing screen of Zoom. For those who have just entered, you can join using the code 8RLYN in join.nearpod.com. So, would like your views. What type of collaborative tools do you use? You will be able to see the question on your screen. Would love to see what type of collaborative tools you currently use. ThinkLink, Google Doc. Google Slides, Story Jumper. Thank you, Despina. Vicky, Dora. Padlet. So a variety of collaborative tools being employed. I can see that Google Docs seems to gain a lot of attention. Alino, again, Padlet, Treesider, Answer Garden. Thousands of tools depending on the group of people I work with and tasks. So again, here a variety of tools is one thing, and the needs of our students on the other guide our decisions. So thank you for sharing your views, everyone. So as you can see, there is a variety of collaborative learning tools. Some examples of online collaborative writing tools and mind map creation tools appear here. Some examples are Etherpad, PenFlip on the collaborative writing side, and mind map or wise mapping on the mind map creation side. The question now is, why is collaboration important in your teaching or in your instruction? Why do you consider collaboration important? Your thoughts, your opinion here will be valued. Again, in your screen, you should be able to write your thoughts in 250 characters, make it as short as possible. We just want to grasp your feelings towards collaboration as an aspect in language learning. Learning from each other, learning from different perspectives, establishing bonds, in gaining the intelligence of the crowd, peer learning, large groups, constructivism as a theory, promotes 21st century skills, promotes peer learning. They can learn better due to collaboration. They are expected to be collaborative as future employees, co-motivation in addition to what is already said, to see or to find another perspective, to encourage students develop reading and learning, to gain team learning skills, to develop skills needed for the 21st century. So as you can see, we have already started working collaboratively here, and the views expressed in this collaborative board can come together and give us a full perspective of why collaboration is important. So moving on now to the content, which is linked to what you have already mentioned in the collaborative board. We will introduce briefly the theoretical background that influences the design of 3 different types of activities that we will explore today. That is the tenets of constructionism and social constructionism in language learning. And we will then explore tools that support collaborative learning, both from the teachers and the students' perspective. And we will conclude with some activities that will give you the opportunity to voice your thoughts regarding today's workshop. So starting with constructionism and the father of constructionism, Seymour Papert, who was a South African-born American mathematician, a computer scientist and educator, who spent most of his career as a researcher at MIT. He was one of the pioneers of artificial intelligence and the father of the constructionist movement in education. So in his writings, Constructionism, the book Constructionism that he co-authored with Edith Harrell, he noted that constructionism builds on the ideas and aspirations of constructivism, but there are some important differences between the two. So for both constructivists and constructionists, knowledge is built by the learner instead of being presented or imposed to students by an expert, such as the teacher. What are their differences now? Piaget focuses on the cognitive processes of learning, and constructionism adds the idea of artifact construction, as the artifact can be a main element for the knowledge to be conquered. So through the assistance of digital media and the use of computer-based technologies, Papert introduced the idea of engaging learners in the construction of artifacts, and through these constructionist activities, knowledge is expected to be enhanced and developed. Construction of knowledge, according to constructionism, places emphasis on the making of concrete and public artifacts. And constructionism assumes that learning occurs more effectively when learners understand the world around them by creating meaningful artifacts that can be shared and probed to the world around them. So you have noticed that we have repeated the word artifact quite often. So what is an artifact, according to Papert, is anything that can be shared and probed to the world. It can be visible either through digital media or in the physical world, whether a sandcastle, a machine, a computer program, a poem, or a book. So constructionism is set forward as a theory of learning, teaching, and design that aligns well with the demands and expectations of computational culture, and emphasizes building, creating, and making of shared and meaningful artifacts for gaining knowledge. In the context of my PhD, the theory of constructionism has been applied to language learning and grounded the use of social technologies for under the theoretical framework of constructionism. So the constructionist theory was extended to the social constructionist framework, placing emphasis on the use of social technologies whilst engaging in constructing external and shared outcomes and artifacts. So within the social constructionist framework, we proposed to groups of learners to work together for constructing an artifact that can be meaningful, can be shared to the world, and can be visible. Some examples of artifacts that were built within social technologies include a collective dictionary of the target language, a story related to photos students have taken, and the development of stories related to the culture of the target language. A culture rich shared multimedia story, an information platform with audio and video from the learner's perspective, and a 3D simulation of a city where the target language is spoken. Within the social constructionist framework, learners and teachers adopt different roles. On the one hand, learners take the role of active constructors and the reviewers of their creations, of their artifacts. And teachers are expected to act as facilitators, as supporters and reviewers in the process. So they work together towards the creation of a concrete artifact. So just a review of what has been said so far. You should have two very quick questions in front of you within Nearpod. For those that have just entered, you can join our presentation on Nearpod using the link join.nearpod.com and the code that we have in the chat. So constructionism supports the construction of artifacts as a means of learning, and the father of constructionism is Papert, as we noticed earlier. So moving on to putting these theories into practice, we will be illustrating these theories with examples of collaborative tasks. The examples provided will be from classes that we run at the Cyprus University of Technology. And more specifically, we will explore the use of Google Docs, DocuViz, Coggle, and Facebook as a means for supporting social construction of artifacts. So these tools promote discussion, collaboration, and sharing of artifacts. And they can be used either synchronously in the classroom or synchronously or asynchronously in out-of-class activities. So we will start with the use of Google Docs from the teacher's perspective. A lot of you have indicated that you are using Google Docs as a tool in your writing. So here is a collaborative writing task that had been given to a group of students in the university. They had to write a text asynchronously. The task was part of a scenario where the students needed to work together for creating an interactive presentation to provide information about the university to Spanish Erasmus students that will be arriving in our university soon. So at the top, you can see the names of the students as they have started writing and working on the document. But a question often posed by instructors is, how can I know that the 3 students actually worked on the document and that not only the last person worked only on the document? Google Doc offers a history functionality where we can check whether someone has actually worked on the document, but it doesn't demonstrate the amount of the contribution that one has offered. In order to check this, there is an application that you can see on the top of the right hand. It's called DocuViz. And when you click there, you can see a visualization of students' contribution in a specific document. You can see the student's name on the top, and each student is represented by a different color. And then the little bar at the top of the column shows by color who was present in that slice of time. So you can see a more detailed history of students' contribution in a document. Below the DocuViz visualization, there is a table, again, with the name of the students and their contribution in terms of edits or in terms of others people edits. And they all come together in order to see learners' role and contribution in a collaborative learning task. So a quick poll regarding the use of Google Docs with your students for collaborative writing. We just want to see if you are using it as a collaborative tool for writing. Okay, the majority seems to agree with using Google Docs with your students for collaborative writing tasks. Thank you very much. What about DocuViz? Have you used it as a tool for visualizing your students' contribution to collaborative writing tasks? Okay, we seem to have a 70% no. Stavroula, just noticed your question. Yes, the answer is no. You need to have, students need to have a registered Google account in order to trace their progress. Okay, so 70% seems not to use DocuViz in your teaching. Thank you very much. And I'm passing the floor to Victoria for
thank you, Antigone.
Google Docs.
Okay, I will start sharing my screen now, and you can see my presentation, right? Yes. So, as you have seen, many of you state that you use Google Docs. Let's see very quickly the steps for Google Docs. For those who state that they didn't use Google Docs in their class. So the first thing that you need to do to open a Google Doc, you need to have a Google account, as someone was asking in the chat. So you go to your Google account and you select, you go to this icon here on the right, on the top right hand, and it will display different applications that Google has, and you need to click on Google Drive. Okay, once you have clicked on Google Drive, it will display different options, like create a new folder, and if you create a new folder from there, you can also open a Google Doc, or otherwise you just can click on Google Docs and it will open a Google Doc. How can you share a Google Doc to work collaboratively? Well, you need to go here to the top right hand and click on share, and then you have two options. Okay, the first option is here. You need to add the email of the people you would like to work with and click done. For the purpose of using DocuViz, it's recommended to use a Gmail account. Okay, so you add here a Gmail account. A second option to share Google Docs is to copy the link that it appears here and send it to your collaborators via an email. But what happened with this option? With this option, all your collaborators, all your collaborators will appear as anonymous. Okay, why is this? Because you haven't added their Gmail account. So, and you would like to avoid this, because if you are using Google Docs for educational purposes or for collaborative writing, you would like to know who is working on a specific Google Doc. So we should avoid this and try to use the first option. Okay. Okay. So you say that some of you said that you have already used Google Docs. I have prepared here a text that with the idea of discussing Greg Kessler quote. So Greg Kessler is telling us that technology offers unprecedented opportunities to communicate with others in authentic and compelling, linguistically and culturally contextualized domains. And he's asking us, how can we leverage learners' technologically mediated and highly participatory culture and an array of quickly emerging technologies to enhance language teaching and learning? Okay, so in order to see how Google Doc works and how DocuViz work, what I would like you to do is to go here to the DC4LT Webinar Series, Google Class, and click on Classwork. And you will see, once you click on classwork, you will see on your left all the topics, all the seminars that we have been running for the last 2 weeks, okay? So you need to click on collaborative learning tools, which is our workshops. And once you are there, you will see that there are different links, and the ones that we are going to use now to write collaboratively are the links that says group 1, collaborative writing doc, group 2, and so on. So I will soon send you to a room in Zoom, to a breakout room. So if you are in room number 1, you go and click group 1. If you are in room 2, you click on group 2, and so on, okay? I will give you for this activity no more than 5 to 7 minutes, because many of you already know how to work with Google Docs. But the idea is that we use this activity to show you later how to work with DocuViz, okay? So this is the text again. And I would like to ask you that once you are in the doc and while you are discussing, think of an image that might represent the text that you are writing, okay? So I will split you are 21 participants, I will split you in 4 groups, okay? So you will enter soon in breakout room. Do you have any question before you go to a room? Does somebody want to ask something? No? Okay. Okay. So let's see now, how can you visualize what you have written, or how can you visualize what your students have, the amount of contribution of your students in a Google Doc, okay? So to do this, we need to have Google Docs. We are going to be working on Chrome. That was one of the requirements for this workshop, to have Chrome installed, because otherwise DocuViz won't work, okay? So I will share with you here on the chat the link to Google Doc, to DocuViz, sorry. And here it goes. Okay, so if you click on DocuViz, you should be somewhere here, like I am showing you on my screen. I don't go directly to the site because I have already installed DocuViz and it will look different. So you need to go to Google Docs and click Add to Chrome. That is the first step. There are 2 very basic steps: add to Chrome, and the second step is you need to click on add extensions. And that's all the things that you need to do in order to add DocuViz. I see that there is a comment in the chat. Somebody's asking. Okay, thank you, Mikhail. So let's see how much you contributed. Okay, so I am going now to this group 1, which wrote quite a lot. In order to install, once you have installed DocuViz, you need to do refresh. Otherwise, it won't appear. So you click on refresh. And let's see if at least group number 1 can see what I'm sharing with you here, okay? For example, I started this document on the 6th of March, and on the 17th of March, another participant, Skevi Vasiliou, seemed that she wanted to see what was going on with these Google Docs. And today you were writing synchronously, and here is the amount of all of you. I can see that Despina edit herself many times, and she edit others, total of edit, and her total contribution is this amount here. Let's see for the other group number 2, how much they contributed to this task. Okay, there is a quite contribution here, and here we have another group. Okay, so I would like to know if you are all there. In group 3, nobody was on group 3 working. It seemed it was just me. And there's another...
I actually wrote the things we were discussing on Zoom, and it's
okay.
By the way, I was the one who was typing their answers, but I don't know why you can't see me.
In group 3?
Maybe you should refresh, Professor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I refreshed, but for some reason I couldn't. Let's see again. Yes, great. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so my question is, can you all see what is going on here? Is this the image that you are actually seeing from your side? Yes? Okay. When you finish, when you want to go back to the Google Doc, you just click close and you will be back on the Google Doc. Okay? So do not close this Google Docs, because we will go back to them towards the end of this presentation. So I'm going back to my my presentation, and now we are moving towards the use of Coggle, okay, for the creation of mind map. And I will show you an example of one of my classes. I use this activity, this tool, sorry, for different activities. What I'm showing now is that it can be used also for a reading comprehension activity and for collaborative work. Okay, so in this case, I used my students were reading a blog about, somebody was writing about mi viaje por Latinoamérica, my trip around Latin America, and in this specific section of the blog, they were describing Guatemala. Okay, so the idea was for my students to make connections across their readings and the main ideas of the text, and that they can represent those ideas in the form of a mind map. So for example, here they added the title, Guatemala, because this section was describing Guatemala, and they represent with images and links the main ideas of this text. So you can also visualize your students' contribution in a Coggle, okay? So the first thing that in order to visualize this, your students need to send you, okay? To send you an invitation to contribute, okay? And this can be done here with this plus sign. They add your email, and you will receive an email where you can see this and you can review the changes, okay? And if you click here in these inverted commas, you will be able to see each student's contribution. What did he add? If they resized an image, if they added branches, and when they collaborated. For example, in this case, Yanis, let's say he worked at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Mariana, she was working at 8 in the evening. So they can use this tool to work synchronously, but also asynchronously. Okay, so let's see how this tool works. Let's see how we can use Coggle. The first thing that you need to do is to go to Coggle. I will share this link again with you in the chat. And so once you click on Coggle, they will ask you to sign in either with your Google account, your Microsoft account, or with Apple. I have always tried this with my Google account, okay? And once you have signed in, a new window will be opened, and Coggle will ask you to select one of these two options, either concept maps or mind maps. Okay, and for today's activity, you should select mind maps. Okay, and once you are there, in order to start working with this, you can create a diagram. Click on create a diagram, and then you need to click to edit the text. You can give a title, you can add an image, a link, and so on. So let me show you a little bit. I think there are some questions there. I don't know, Antigone, if you can, if you are taking a look at the...
Yes.
Yes, yes, it's free, okay? Coggle is a free tool to use, okay? I will show you here now how this work. So I'm already, because I'm already signed in, so I will create a diagram. Here are the diagrams that were created by me, that I shared with my students, for example, at the beginning of the course to make a to share their ideas about what is the Spanish culture. But here on the left side, you can see also the Coggle that has the mind maps that have been shared with you. Okay. So let's see how this works. I will create very briefly to give you a demonstration. So I click on create a diagram. I click edit title. And let's say that I will add a title about our workshop, collaborative learning. And with the plus sign, I can add a branch, and I can add another text or a link, as I mentioned earlier, or an image. If I want to add an image, you have to have, you need to have those images on your computer. So I will add this image here, let's say, and if I want to add more branch, I just add this plus sign, bot sign, and you can add so as many branches as you want. So in the question mark that you have here, all the commands will appear. So for example, if I want to remove one of the branches that I just added, I click Control-Z, and it should be removed. And there are other instructions here that you can use. So you can also present this Coggle, okay? You can share, you can download it in the way of a PDF or as an image, and you can send it to somebody else, okay, as I mentioned before. So I will send it to myself to show you, because now you will soon start working with this collaboratively. So I send it to myself, and I go to my emails, and I should have, if I refresh, I'm refreshing, it's taking a little time. Yes, okay, so you can see here, and if I click on view, I am directly here. If my sign as a different person does not appear here, because I am sending it to myself, but in your case, or in the case of your students, once they have shared with somebody else, all the people collaborating on this Coggle will appear. I can see that there are some more questions here. Okay, Maria, if you want, you can unmute yourself so we can help you how to help you with this. You are saying that it's difficult to follow. You will have time now to practice this in groups, okay? I'm just making a demonstration now, and now you will have time to practice this, and I will come into your groups, okay? You will start working soon on this. Okay, so here, the idea to practice this, okay, I was explaining this very quickly, but I will come with small groups in order to help you with this, is that you use this tool to practice collaborative reading, okay? And I have prepared a very brief text because I know that we don't have too much time. This text deals with digital tools for classroom collaboration, collaborating on projects, okay? So where you will find this text, again, if you go to the Google Class platform, there is a link on our workshop that is called Creating Mind Maps with Coggle. And once you are there, if you click there, this is what you should be seeing, okay? These are the instructions to be followed in order to work collaboratively with Coggle. And for this participant that was asking about how to use Coggle in the classwork, in our workshop, there is a link, if you scroll down, with all the instructions, okay? Where it says Coggle, it's below the text that you are going to work now, okay? So I will split you in in groups again, and for this activity you will have 10 minutes in order to play a little bit with this tool, okay? Okay, great. Let's see how you work here. If you can see my screen, I received 3 invitations, one from Juliana, one for Bursu, and one from Julio, I think. And this is how they appear in my screen. This is how it will appear to you if your students share it with you, or if you share it with your students. So I just click on one of these and I can see that all of you are working there. And if I click on the clock and I start in, you see, it will display how did you progress by creating this mind map. Okay, so do not close this, okay? We will come back to this. We are moving towards the last tool that we will use today. Give me a second. I think that you cannot see me, right? No, I was speaking and you cannot see me. Okay, I'm here. Sorry, I forgot about the camera. Okay, so we are approaching the finale of this workshop, and the last tool that I want to share with you is another tool that I'm using in my classes, and is Facebook, and more specifically Facebook private groups, which allowed us to allow the student to interact. Okay, so here, for example, my students were asked to comment or interact with the text of other teams through a Facebook private group. This is from 1 year ago, where some of when one specific group shared, in this case, the Google Doc about the university that Antigone spoke about at the beginning of this workshop. And here you have another example. This is from the last semester, from the autumn 2020. And again, students share their mind map, okay? With the idea that other groups can see their work, they can learn from each other, they can comment and ask questions, okay? We are going to do this now with all the artifacts that we have created today. And to do this, the first thing that you need to do is to create a Facebook private group. In order to do this, you need to have a Facebook account. And once you are on your Facebook account, you go to groups and create new group. Okay. And once you have created a group, Facebook will ask you to give it a name to your group, and it will ask you to choose between two options, either public or private. In my case, I have always chose private to work with my students. I don't want my group to be public. I see there are some questions here on the chat. Okay, thank you. So you choose private because we are intended to use this for educational purposes. And once you have created this as a private group, one of the most important things that you have to do is to check the settings there. Okay. And it is important that you check who can approve members' request. By default, you will have this option, anyone in the group. But because we are using this space for educational purposes, I recommend you that you select only administrators or moderators. Why? Because otherwise your students will be adding whoever they want. It happens to me many years ago when I started using Facebook private groups. The first time that I used it, I didn't check for this, and suddenly I saw that, okay, who is this person? And it was somebody that was added by one of my students. Okay, so as I said before, the idea is now that we share and we can discuss what you have been working on during the last 90 minutes nearly. Okay, so to do this, you should join our Facebook group. You can find the link on the Google Classroom. Is the last link for our workshop for collaborative learning tools, or otherwise I can share it with you on the chat. Thank you, Antigone. Okay, and what we are going to do there, you're going to share your collaborative text, your Google Docs, and your mind maps. Okay. Usually when I work with my students, if they are working in groups, they tag their collaborators, they tag with the people with they work with. But I'm aware that you might not know the people that you work with today. Okay, so we will avoid this step. And what I wanted to do as well is that once we have shared this, to take a look at the work of other people, okay? And if you want, you can make a comment or you can make a question about it. So I am going now to the Facebook group. Let me see where it is, it's here. And I would like to see if there is some member request, if some of you are asking one member request here, okay? I will approve it. I repeat, you will find the link, Antigone already shared it, but it's also here on the Google Classroom, okay? All right, so let me show you something. Let me show you how, we can share our work. First, we have a Google Doc, okay, that you have worked about the use of technologies to enhance language learning. And what I always explain to my students is if they are sharing their work, they should avoid copying the link that you have here. Why? Because what this link says that you can edit it. So wherever you post it, whoever has access to this link will be able to edit the text, okay? So we don't want that. We want to share our work so that other people can work or can read and comment and ask questions, but we don't want our work to be changed. So to do that, you go to File in the Google Doc, and you scroll down and you go to Publish to the web. And once you are there, you click on Publish, and it will display a question here, and you need to answer, okay? And then you will be able to it will display this link that you have there for your doc, and you can copy it and paste it to the group. Let me show you with one of your works. If there are no more, okay, I can see. Okay, I can see that all of you are there. Okay, so let group one, if Anna, and there are more persons here, but if you allowed me to do this, you go to File, Publish to the Web, Publish, okay, and you copy this link into our group. No, why? 1 minute, paste. Now, okay, this group, if I'm not wrong, they didn't add any image. No, okay. Anyway, I will post it as well. Michael, I don't know if you are on our Facebook group, but I remember that in your group you added an image. Yes, this. So I would like to show you something. So you go again, File, Publish to the Web, Publish, okay, and you copy that link, and it should display the image like this. So that is why I ask you to add one image, because it quickly identifies your text with an image, and you can, once you open it, it will look like this. Okay, so this is how you can share your Google Docs. I invite you to do this with the other two groups that I haven't shared. And moving to the mind map, I will show you how to do this. So this is a group that works with let me go here. Okay, so in order to share a Coggle, you need to go to the first arrow, the upward arrow. You click there, and it asks you here, can everyone view this diagram? No, so you need to change it to yes, okay, because otherwise nobody will be able to see it. And we need a new link, okay, and you copy that link, and this is how you can share the mind map. Stavrula, this is what I will share this, and I will explain. No, it's not the same. Okay, if you let's see, I am in this document, okay, and I click share. You have different options here, okay. As you can see, always your student, if they are working collaboratively, they should have this option open here, edit, okay. So if you add that link, it will appear as it is now, and whoever has access to the link will be able to edit, to make changes. And you don't want, once you have worked on your Google Doc as the owner with your peers, you don't want that somebody else that is out of the group comes and change the work that you have done. Okay, that's the main difference, and it will be displayed in this way. So if you click here and you try to write here, you won't be able to do it. Okay, if you change the settings, it will appear in view, let's say. You change the setting and it will appear in as a view mode, but you will see all these things here, you know. So you can do that as well, but you will visualize this in a different way, not like this. Okay, so I invite you to share all this in our Facebook group. If you want, I give you 1 or 2 minutes to scroll and see what other people have done. And then we will close this workshop with a final reflection. You're welcome, Stavrula.
Professor, I have a question.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so when we make some changes on Google Doc, will it reflect back to the link?
Yes, that's a very, very good question. Thank you for asking this. Yes, you see here or here, it says it will be updated automatically every 5 minutes. Okay, so if you make a change, the people that are viewing this document will see the changes as well. Okay, and this can be also used for, let's say, for Google Slides. Okay, this is the way that we have all been sharing our slides with you in the Google Classroom platform. Okay. Okay, Antigone, I think I will leave you, I will give you the floor now to you for the last. Antigone?
Thank you, Victoria. So we have seen and shared different types of tools and created artifacts that are meant to be created collaboratively and built on the potential of the team and building on the common brain that can be elaborated through Facebook groups or any other tool to allow to the members of the classroom to share their artifacts, discuss their artifacts, and see what their co-partners have created. And we wish to to note here the importance of having students work and comment and discuss their artifacts at the end, as this is a step that allows them to reflect and work iteratively between what has been created and how this can be improved. As the final output here is not just to create a map, but to work back and forth between the tool, the students, and the feedback that has been received, either from the instructor or from other students, and to optimize the result. So in a real life classroom, we would ask from the students to review and act as reviewers of the artifacts of their peers and provide comments or suggestions for improvement. So now we would like to capture your views. If you are still in the Nearpod, we have one final question regarding the use of the specific tools, whether you will be interested in using the tools or any challenges that you have encountered during this workshop, or you might foresee that will arise in your classroom when using the specific tools. So if you have a couple of minutes, please return to the Nearpod and cast your thoughts there. We would like to thank you everyone for being here and for your attention in this workshop. The references and all the material will be available in the DC4LT platform in Google Classroom, and we remain at your disposal for any questions or any inquiries that you might have. Other than that, we wish you to we hope that you have enjoyed our session and all the webinars that have taken place in this series of webinars, and looking forward to sharing any final thoughts.
And please remember, there is the one more last session at 1 o'clock Central European Time. Is the last session of today. If you want, or if you can share, if you can attend it. Thank you very much for being here today. Thank you.